Welcome to the Lee Etzler Show, a weekly wrap-up and analysis of Churubusco High School Football.
Eagles, what is your profession? Out, out, out.
And now your host, Big Daddy Don Hyatt.
Hi, welcome to the Lee Etzler Show. I'm Dave Crable sitting in for Don Hyatt. The Eagles suffered their first regular season loss in 2 seasons against Culver Military last Friday, 35-16. Coach Etzler will be here to talk with us about that game and the upcoming game against Fairfield, big important conference game. Also, offensive line coach Paul Sade will be here a little bit later, so stick around. We'll be right back after this.
I lost my job and I needed help with different things like prescriptions and energy assistance and stuff. So I contacted United Way. They was the first ones that I could think of. And I went to the agencies that they gave me a list of and got the assistance that I needed from them. Because I received the help from United Way, then I'm volunteering my help out to the community, giving the help that they need.
Hey football fans, do you want to keep track of Churubusco High School football games? Log on to busconews.com every game day and watch up-to-the-minute pregame, halftime, and postgame interviews with head coach Lee Etzler. Stay connected with your computer or on your cell phone. busconews.com. When you can't make it to the game, it's the next best thing to being there.
Hi, welcome back to the Lee Etzler Show. Coach, Busco played a great game against a great team the other night, but unfortunately came up a little bit short.
Yeah, came up short, and that something we're not real happy about. Felt, however, our kids approached the game pretty well. Week of preparation was pretty good. Went into the game with a pretty good attitude and played what we felt extremely hard. We played some pretty physical football all year and played pretty fast, and I think that was even amped up last Friday night. So. Difficult with how our season's gone so far, the previous 6 games, getting ready for a game like that, and all the things that are thrown at you in a 4-quarter football game against a very good team, and our inexperience with that, I think, showed a little bit Friday night, and more than anything else, the mistakes got us with the turnovers and some key penalties and things like that, but. Pleased with the effort the kids took, not only Friday night but the week of preparation. Thought we played hard. Think at least this provides us an opportunity for a learning experience that hopefully wins us a game here down the road.
Yep. They started off, they went up 7-0, and they kept us kind of pinned down at our end, towards our end of the field, and it took us a while to kind of get going there. Then then we went down 14-0, and then we came back. So kind of, if you want to kind of go over that sequence, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, well, poor field position. We threw an interception early that gave them the ball inside the 5-yard line, which scored their first touchdown. Okay. They scored and kicked off, and we have a block in the back that puts us deep in our own territory again on the second drive. So it seemed like early on it was those types of things. The turnover, the penalty type situations. Thought we could have made a play on one of their punts, and we didn't, and then that rolls to the 10-yard line. So definitely we were in some pretty poor field position early. Got things moving offensively after a little bit, settled down a little bit on defense, and we're able, went into halftime, I think 14-8. Mm-hmm. So we're in pretty good position, at halftime. Really liked the attitude of our kids even at halftime. They understood, the football game they were in, didn't seem to be interested about shying away from that. So we're ready to play the second half. Unfortunately, we made a few mistakes in the second half as well. They are a very talented football team and well coached. So a lot of speed they put on the field, and gave up a couple big plays on the defensive side of the ball that allowed a couple more touchdowns. So effort was good. We just need to be a little more. We need to be a little more tight and right on a few things if we're going to compete in a top-notch football game like that.
And Culver is a pretty top-notch club. Like you said, they play a lot of top teams throughout the single A, 2A, and 3A. Do they play any 4A schools lead up in that area?
Some of their opponents, they might have a 4A opponent or two, but their schedule consists of no slouches. They ended Lafayette Central Catholic's 48-game winning streak, 2 weeks previous, and they're in close football games throughout their schedule. So they were used to competing in that situation, and we weren't. And not that we weren't ready for the challenge. It's just the week of preparation. How concerned were we when we'd have what we'd call a boneheaded penalty in the previous 6 weeks, or how concerned are we when we put the ball on the ground when we're not supposed to? Well, those types of things didn't really hurt us in the first 6 weeks. So our mental focus on those types of things need to be much greater, and need to have an attitude. Well, I need to have all my bases covered and all my assignments. Making mistakes like what we made Friday, pretty obviously, it loses you a football game. It
does. It kind of puts you behind the 8 ball, and then it seems like they run that clock angle. You run out of time, and you just can't get caught back up.
Yeah, definitely that happened Friday night.
Jason Nicodemus had 256 yards rushing. Is that about around that area?
A little over 250. So good player, and he showed it again against a pretty good team. Played well on the defensive side of the ball as well. So he's the kid that when opposing coaches look at our film, he's the kid that's going to stand out to them. First and foremost. So was impressed offensively. It's always a worry when we go into our first big game of the year that we have had a lot of success the first 6 weeks, a lot of big plays, hadn't had the ball on offense very much, and are concerned about our ability when we haven't had our ability to kind of drive the football and grind out yards, and what do we do on how are we going to respond on a third and short situation when you hadn't been in those types of situations all year. So right. Thought we did real well at that. Thought the offensive line played real well. Thought we played physical on both sides of the ball. Just too many mistakes against a good football team.
Okay, Lee, can you stick around? We'll come back, maybe talk about that second half, and then we're going to be joined by offensive line coach Paul Sade, and then maybe give us a few words about him. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back after this to talk about the rest of the CMA game and the upcoming big conference game against Fairfield.
I lost my job and I needed help with different things like prescriptions and energy assistance and stuff. So I contacted United Way. They was the first ones that I could think of. And I went to the agencies that they gave me a list of and got the assistance that I needed from them. Because I received the help from United Way, then I'm volunteering my help out to the community, giving the help that they need.
Hey football fans, do you want to keep track of Churubusco High School football games? Log on to busconews.com every game day and watch up-to-the-minute pregame, halftime, and postgame interviews with head coach Lee Etzler. Stay connected with your computer or on your cell phone. busconews.com. When you can't make it to the game, it's the next best thing to being there.
Hey, welcome back. We're here with Coach talking about the second half of that CMA game. Lee, you guys were down 14-8 and got one more score in the second half until they pulled away from us.
Yeah, again, a little bit more of the same that we saw in the first half. Moved the ball a good amount of time in the second half. Punted on our first possession in the second half. Not real happy about, but moved the ball at times. Gave up another big play on defense against an extremely good athlete on their side, and then just didn't really take advantage of all our drives. Moved the football again, but didn't take advantage of all our drives. And then we're in a situation, late in the game where we're reaching for things, trying to get back in the football game, and a couple more turnovers that allowed another score or two at the end for them. So score probably didn't indicate the type of game it was, but kids played hard, and we can handle the loss if we learn from it and approach future games a little bit better as far as having our focus down for the penalty type things, the turnover type things, and if that wins us a game later on in the year, then we can handle it. Non-conference game, you want to win that game because it's a good opponent, and you get up for that challenge against playing against a good opponent, and it didn't work out for us, but maybe it's not all bad if it helps us win a game in the future.
Absolutely. You're always talking about the kids. How will you respond? How will you respond? You're going to have problems. You're going to have issues. How will you respond? And how do you think they're going to how do they do today in practice for you?
Yeah, well, I guess as time goes on, we'll tell a little more. Looking at their faces after the game and speaking with them after the game, and meeting with them Saturday morning, seemed to have the right mindset. Mm-hmm. Not that there was necessarily any discussion on their part that gives me that impression, but the look in their eyes, it's not a tail between their legs type look. It's, we need to get better. Goals are still ahead of us that we can accomplish, and we need to get better. That's my impression of their attitude immediately after the game, and also on Saturday morning. So, and this part of our season, we don't have too much time to feel sorry for ourselves anyway. Extremely big rivalry this week, so and tough games ahead of us.
Good. Hey, Lee, offensive line coach Paul Sade's going to be stopping by. Give us a few words. Paul's been with you. How long's Paul been with you?
Oh, he came back to us in 2008. Okay. So has been with us ever since.
Good. So tell us a little bit about Paul and what he's doing for that offensive line.
Very valuable part of our coaching staff. Takes a lot of ownership in the position of offensive line, and we feel goes above and beyond the responsibilities of a coach. Is around those kids as much as any coach is around those kids, and gets a lot out of them. Meets with them individually, makes sure they're keeping their nose clean on and off the field, and we've gotten a whole lot of production out of our offensive lines with him as the offensive line coach. And statistically, I wish I could tell you exactly since he's been back, but we've had quite a few offensive yards in the time he's been the offensive line coach, and that's a testament to the job he's done with those kids. And they respond to him pretty well, and work pretty hard for him, and I think respect him as a coach. And he also has a pretty good sense of humor, so he's entertaining for us too. So we'll keep him around for that reason as well.
You're right. Everyone, stick around. We'll be right back after this to talk to Coach Paul Sade. He's always fun.
I lost my job and I needed help with different things like prescriptions and energy assistance and stuff. So I contacted United Way. They was the first ones that I could think of. And I went to the agencies that they gave me a list of and got the assistance that I needed from them. Because I received the help from United Way, then I'm volunteering my help out to the community, giving the help that they need.
Hey football fans, do you want to keep track of Churubusco High School football games? Log on to busconews.com every game day and watch up-to-the-minute pregame, halftime, and postgame interviews with head coach Lee Etzler. Stay connected with your computer or on your cell phone. busconews.com. When you can't make it to the game, it's the next best thing to being there.
Hey, welcome back. We're here with Churubusco offensive line coach Paul Sade. Paul's been the coach for 4 or 5 seasons, the offensive line, and they've just been amassing a ton of yards. And this year they're nearly over 3,000 yards rushing. So, Paul, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming, man.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Talk a little bit about that CMA game, and then we'll kind of talk about the whole program. But CMA the other night, we kept it close, and then they kind of got away from us there in the second half.
Yeah, I think just talked to the kids today, and we spent a lot of time grading film and stuff, and we had a lot of offensive plays in that game, over 70, and I think our kids played pretty fast. I don't think they were shying away from the challenge. I think they met the challenge in a lot of ways physically. I think we had some breakdowns mentally and some blown assignments and some penalties that things that we've probably gotten away with in previous weeks, but against a team like Culver and against the teams that we're going to play in the future, that costs you the win usually. So, and I think we found that out the hard way, and hopefully we learn from it. So,
how will you go about correcting that, Paul? I mean, what are you mentally wise? What are you telling the kids?
Our practices are very, very difficult for the offensive line. The offensive lineman individual sessions are 55 minutes on Wednesdays, and aside from all the mental reps we ask of them, to know their plays and to know their rules, it is physically pretty grueling, and it's by design. It's fast-paced. There's not always a lot of instruction that happens during that 55-minute time. We try and get as many reps in as we can. We film a lot of things. Sometimes we film drills even, just so we can go back and evaluate things after that. But the goal is to put them in an uncomfortable situation physically and mentally, and make them tired and make them have to make decisions when they're tired and when it's all hell's breaking loose around them, because that's what we feel like a game is. It most resembles a game, and we've had pretty good results with it. So we just, I don't think we have to do anything completely different. I think we just have to stay the course and do our thing, and hopefully it'll take care of itself. And we grade pretty strictly and pretty, I guess, intensely. We spend a lot of time, like I said, on the film eval stuff. So the kids come in on Mondays and they have a score that they get, and it takes some hours on Sunday to do, but it's worth it because they really look forward to it, and they know where they stand and can go back and watch each play on film and have a color-coded printout of why they got the score they got and what they could have done to make it better. So
you actually grade them and bring them in and talk to them and say what they can do better and kind of critique it then, huh?
Yeah, we started doing it a couple years ago. It's a quality control report, kind of combination of stuff that we had already done and some stuff that they were doing at University of Mississippi. And our kids, I really feel like it's helped our kids. It's helped our offense. It's helped our offensive line because they know that they're competing for scores and they're competing for blocks, and obviously not just the win, but there's a lot more things to it now. And every morning at 7:30 on Monday, that's the expectation, is that stuff's posted, and so it's created some competition amongst our kids, and I think it's been good for us.
Only making you guys better. Only making you guys better.
Definitely.
How long have you been offensive coach here, Paul? I know I said 4 or 5 years.
This is my fifth season.
Fifth season. Have you seen him get better every year?
I don't know. I'm always going to be partial to certain kids and certain teams. I think this is a very good group of seniors that we have. They've played together for a long time, a lot of experience. Eric Kusnar's been on the offensive line as a starter for 4 years, and that doesn't happen very often.
Right.
Brian Richardson, Tyler Neville, Cole Stauffer, Jesse Green, Sam Siddons are all guys that play a lot of offense, get a lot of offensive reps, and have been at it for a long time, and have been fortunate enough to see kids like Bob Arvola and Zach Adams and Zach Armstead and kids like that go in front of them who weren't necessarily the biggest or the fastest kids, but were championship caliber football players. And Chris Eaker's another one that, I guess kids that they didn't physically, you wouldn't think that they were much of anything as far as offensive linemen, but enjoyed contact and enjoyed their role. And so they've learned from what I would consider to be very successful people in front of them, and kids that have kind of set the tone. And as a result, I think we don't lose anything on intensity or expectations every year. And we've been fortunate with that because we've had such a good group of kids. Every year when a new group of kids comes in, freshmen, there's a new core batch of seniors and upperclassmen that they relay those expectations of you're not going to get a lot of recognition, and you're going to work harder than anybody else during offensive practice, and you're going to get yelled at, and you're going to get graded harder than other people because without you doing the things that you need to do up front, we don't have a chance of winning. And so it's the kids have really embraced their roles, and it's been kind of fun to watch the last 5 years.
You're doing a great job with it, Paul, and
Thanks.
And you're just a huge part of the huge reason why we're getting some great records here. And
That fat joke. Huge reason.
You're a huge reason. Coach said Coach also said you had some kind of comedy bit that you're always pretty good at.
Yeah,
or something.
I do impersonations sometimes, but I don't think any of them would be good for the show.
All right, Paul. Well, hey, man, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. What is this, your
Thanks,
fourth
Dave.
time or fifth time you've been on the show?
I think fourth, maybe.
Oh, you're like the Alec Baldwin of the show, man. You've been on a lot.
Steve Martin.
Yeah, you're
Keep coming back. No, I think it's the fourth time.
Good. All right. Hey, we want to thank Paul Sade for stopping out and see us. We really do appreciate it. Stick around. We'll be right back to talk with Coach about the upcoming Fairfield game.
I'm offensive line coach Paul Sade, and you're watching the Lee Etzler Show.
I lost my job and I needed help with different things like prescriptions and energy assistance and stuff. So I contacted United Way. They was the first ones that I could think of. And I went to the agencies that they gave me a list of and got the assistance that I needed from them. Because I received help from United Way, then I'm volunteering my help out to the community, giving the help that they need.
Hey football fans, do you want to keep track of Churubusco High School football games? Log on to busconews.com every game day and watch up-to-the-minute pregame, halftime, and postgame interviews with head coach Lee Etzler. Stay connected with your computer or on your cell phone. busconews.com. When you can't make it to the game, it's the next best thing to being there.
Hey, welcome back to the Lee Etzler Show. We want to thank offensive line coach Paul Sade for a great interview. He's always a lot of fun. Coach, got a big battle against Fairfield this week. They got beat by Lakeland. Surely for us to win the conference, we're going to have to go through Fairfield.
Yeah, and that's seems to be the case, every year for quite a few years in a row. Big rivalry game that we've played very competitive games here for quite a few years in a row that a lot of people get excited about watching. Even had officials talk about like to officiate that game. Because it's so much fun. It's pretty aggressive football game, and a lot of scoring, a lot of kids flying around the football field. So, you're not going to win the conference year in year out if you can't beat Fairfield. And it's been a great matchup here for quite a few years in a row.
What do you think? What do you think it is about that Busco Fairfield? Is it Coach Miller up there? And you guys both came in conference at the same time, if I remember right.
Yeah, don't really know. It kind of they got to be real good there in 2006. Won the conference, which was they had struggled as a program, kind of like we did before that. Won the conference, and all of a sudden they quickly became the team to beat year in and year out. And starting in 2007, real good football game between us, and another real good football game in 2008. So it's, pretty early on, it was like, well, Fairfield Busco play each other. It's going to be a great football game. So, that gets the kids on both teams excited. Our kids look forward to this game every year. Their kids look forward to the game every year, and it's interesting. You watch film and you play, whatever previous opponents, but the speed and the intensity gets amped up pretty good for this matchup, and that goes the same for both sides, both teams on both sides. So pretty fun atmosphere.
How do we stack up this year? How are they stacking up against us? What do you think? They're always very athletic. They always have a bunch of very strong kids. Weightlifting competition every year. They're the ones that usually win it. We've won it once or twice, but us two are kind of up there, kind of the same way in track. Big track school, winning conference championship. We've kind of traded off and on with that. So both teams have pretty strong, pretty athletic kids. They have quite a few kids returning from last year. 9 or 10 starters on the offensive side of the ball, returning starters from last year. So, we expect them to be very talented on the offensive side of the ball Friday. And some of those kids play on the defensive side of the ball, and they have talent on the defensive side of the ball, and have a tradition of success. So, they like to win football games over there, and it's expected on their end that they win football games. So, it's these types of games that kids on both sides
look forward to.
Good. All right, Lee. Friday night, 7 o'clock up at Fairfield.
7 o'clock at Fairfield.
All right, man. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming in every week. And we want to thank Churubusco's head coach, Lee Etzler, for coming in every week, taking his time out of his busy schedule. This week, we're going to be up at Fairfield, 7 o'clock start time. Eagles got to win this game to go for the conference championship. It'll probably be third or fourth. It'll be the fourth year in a row if we can win the conference this year, Lee.
You got to win a couple more games, but yeah, four in a row if it happens.
It'll be 4 in a row if it happens. Don't forget about that pregame, halftime, and postgame show during the football games. Don't forget Thursday nights, 7:30 p.m. I'm Dave Crable. We'll see you.